中华人民共和国副主席王岐山阁下和其他贵宾入场。Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome His Excellency Vice President Wang Qishan of the People's Republic of China and other distinguished guests as they enter the hall. 有请中华人民共和国国务院副总理、第4届中国国际进口博览会组委会主任胡春华主持开幕式。
尊敬的王岐山副主席，尊敬的李强书记，尊敬的各国领导人、各国际组织负责人，尊敬的各国使节、各位嘉宾、理事们、先生们、朋友们，大家好！欢迎出席第4届中国国际进口博览会及虹桥国际经济论坛。我代表组委会向支持和参与进博会的各国政府、国际组织和各界朋友表示衷心的感谢，向线上线下参会的各位嘉宾表示诚挚的欢迎。在习近平主席的亲自关心和指导下，中国国际进口博览会已经举办了3届。国际采购、投资促进、人文交流、开放合作4大平台作用日益突出，成为全球共享的国际公共产品。习近平主席连续3届发表组织演讲，今天还将通过视频发表组织演讲。中华人民共和国副主席王岐山阁下莅临会场，出席今天开幕式，并将发表视频致辞的还有阿根廷总统费尔南德斯、哈萨克斯坦总统托卡耶夫、赞比亚总统西马来奇、意大利总理德拉吉、泰国总理巴育、斐济代总理塞努伊纳兔、世界贸易组织总干事伊维拉、联合国贸易和发展会议秘书长格林斯潘，来自106个国家和国际组织的133位部级以上嘉宾线上出席今天的开幕式。有关国家驻华使节、国际组织驻华代表、各省区市和有关部委负责人、跨国公司、智库和商协会代表出席开幕式。本届进博会共有143个国家、地区和国际组织参展，展览面积和参展企业数量均超过上届。58个国家和3个国际组织参加线上国家展，来自127个国家和地区的2900多家参展商参加企业展，420多项新产品、新技术、新服务将在本届进博会上亮相，其中不少是全球首发、亚洲首秀、中国首展。博览会期间还将举办中国加入世贸组织20周年、互利共赢、共创未来高层论坛、12场分论坛和100余场配套活动，希望大家充分利用进博会平台，积极沟通交流，努力达成更多的合作成果。现在，让我们以热烈的掌声欢迎中华人民共和国主席习近平阁下发表视频组织演讲。
尊敬的各位国家元首、政府首脑，尊敬的各位国际组织负责人，尊敬的各代表团团长，各位来宾、女士们、先生们、朋友们，大家好！很高兴在第4届中国国际进口博览会开幕之际，同大家云端相聚。首先，我仅代表中国政府和中国人民，并以我个人的名义，向各位嘉宾表示热烈的欢迎，向各位新老朋友表示诚挚的问候和美好的祝愿。中国历来言必信，行必果。我在第3届进博会上宣布的扩大开放举措已经基本落实。海南自由贸易港跨境服务贸易负面清单已经出台。自由贸易试验区改革创新不断推进，外资准入持续放宽，营商环境继续改善，中欧投资协定谈判业已完成，区域全面经济伙伴关系协定国内核准率先完成。中国克服新冠肺炎疫情影响，推动对外贸易创新发展，是去年全球唯一实现货物贸易正增长的主要经济体。为保障全球产业链供应链稳定，推动世界经济复苏，做出了重要贡献。女士们、先生们、朋友们，当前世界100年变局和世纪疫情交织，单边主义、保护主义抬头，经济全球化遭遇逆流。有关研究表明，10年来世界开放指数不断下滑，全球开放共识弱化，这值得高度关注。逆水行舟，不进则退。我们要把握经济全球化发展大势，支持世界各国扩大开放，反对单边主义、保护主义，推动人类走向更加美好的未来。开放是当代中国的鲜明标志。今年是中国加入世贸组织20周年。20年来，中国全面履行入世承诺，中国关税总水平由15.3%降至7.4%，低于9.8%的入世承诺。中国中央政府清理法律法规2300多件，地方政府清理19万多件，激发了市场和社会活力。新冠肺炎疫情发生以来，中国向国际社会提供了约3500亿只口罩，超过40亿件防护服，超过60亿人份检测试剂，超过16亿剂疫苗，积极推动国际抗疫合作，支持向发展中国家豁免疫苗知识产权，用实际行动践行承诺，展现担当。20年来，中国经济总量从世界第6位上升到第2位，货物贸易从世界第6位上升到第1位，服务贸易从世界第11位上升到第2位。 利用外资稳居发展中国家
China
首
has
位，
led developing countries
对外
and
直接投
utilized
资
foreign investment,
从
and its
世
outbound
界
direct
第
investment
26位
ODI has
上
risen
升到
from the
第1位。
26th to the 1st.
这20年
The
是
past
中国
20
深化
years
改革
have witnessed a
全面
China
开放的20
deepening
年，
reform and pursuing all-round
是中国
opening
把握
up,
机遇
a China
迎接
seizing
挑战的
opportunities
20
and
年，
rising to challenges,
是中国
and a
主动
China
担责
stepping up to its
造福世界的
responsibilities
20
and
年。
benefiting the whole world.
加入世界贸易组织以来，
Since joining the
中国不断
WTO,
扩大
China's
开放，
kept opening wider
激
to
活
the world,
了中国发展的
thus
腾
generating
泰
a new
春潮，
wave of domestic
也激活
development
了世界经
while
济的
injecting fresh
一池
impetus
春水。
into the world economy.
加入世界贸易组织20
China's
年来，
development and progress
中国的
since
发
its
展进
WTO
步
accession 20
使
years
中国人
ago
民在
is
中
the
国共产
result
党
of
坚强
much
领导
hard
下
work and
埋
great
头苦
tenacity
干
of the Chinese
顽
people
强奋斗
under the
取
strong
得的，
leadership of the Communist Party
也
of
是中
China.
国主动
It
加
is
强国际
also
合
the
作
result of
践
China's
行互利
proactive
共
steps
赢的
to
结果。
strengthen international cooperation and pursue
在
win-win
此，我愿
cooperation.
对所有参
On
与
this
和
occasion,
见
I
证
wish to express
这一
my
历史
heartfelt
进
thanks
程
to all Chinese and
支持
foreign
中
friends
国
from different social
开放发
sectors
展的
for
海内
taking
外
part
各
in
界
and
人士
witnessing this historic
表
process
示
and for
衷心的
supporting
感
China's
谢。
opening up and development endeavor.
女士们、先生们、朋友们，
Ladies and gentlemen, friends,
渐出以知入，
ancient Chinese
观往
observed,
以知
one
来。
can tell the inside of a thing by
一个国家、
observing its
一个
outside
民族要
and
振
see the
兴，
future development
就必
by
须在历
reviewing
史
the
前
past.
进的逻辑
For
中
any
前
country
进。
or nation to
在
thrive,
时代发
it
展
must
的
follow
潮流
the
中发
logic
展
of。history and develop in line with the
中国
trend
扩
of
大
the
高水
times.
平开放的决
As
心
for
不
China,
会变，
will not change our
同
resolve
世
to
界
open
分享
wider
发
at
展
a
机
high
遇的决
standard,
心不会
will
变。
not change our
推
determination
动
to
经
share
济全球
development
化朝着更
opportunities
加
with the
开
rest
放
of the world,
包
and
容
will not
普
change our
惠
commitment
平
to
衡
build
共赢
an
方向发展
an
的决心
economic
不会
globalization that
变。
is more open, inclusive, balanced, and beneficial for all.
中国将坚定不移
First,
维护真正的
China
多
will
边主义，
firmly safeguard true
以世界
multilateralism.
贸易组织为核心的
The
多边贸易
multilateral
体
trading
制，
regime with the WTO
是
at
国
its
际贸易
core
的
is
基
the
石。
cornerstone of
当
international
前
trade.
多边贸易体制
Right
面
now,
临
the
诸多
multilateral
挑
trading
战。
regime faces challenges.
中国支持世界贸易
China
组织改
supports the
革，
WTO
朝
reform
着
in
正确
moving
方向发
in the
展，
right direction.
支持多边贸易体
We
制
support
包容
the
性发展，
inclusive development of the
支持
multilateral
发展
trading
中成
regime,
员合
as
法
well
权
as
益。
the legitimate rights and interests of developing
中国
members.
将以积极开
China
放
will
态度
take an active
参
and
与
open
数字经
attitude
济、
in negotiations
贸易和
on
环境、
issues such as the digital
产业
economy,
补贴、
trade and the environment,
国有企业等
industrial
议题谈
subsidies,
判，
and state-owned enterprises.
维护多边贸易体制
Uphold
国
the
际规则
position
制
of the
定的
multilateral trading
主
regime
渠
as the
道
main
地
channel
位，
for
维护
international
全球
rules
产业
setting
链、
and
供应
safeguard
链稳
the
定。
stability of global industrial and supply
第
chains.
二，中
Second,
国将坚定不移
China
同
will
世界
firmly share
共享市
market
场机遇。
opportunities with the rest of the world.
中国有14亿多人口
China has a
和4
population
亿
of
以
over
上中等收
1.4
入群
billion
体，
and a middle income group
每年
of
进
more
口
than
商品和
400
服务
million people.
约2.5
Our
万亿
annual
美
import
元。
in goods and services
市
is
场规模
valued
巨大，
at around $2.5 trillion.
中国将更加
All this
注重扩
offers
大
an
进口，
enormous market.
促进贸易
Going
平衡
forward,
发展。
China will lay more emphasis on
中国
expanding
将增
import
设
and
进口
pursue
贸易
balanced
促进
development
创
of
新
trade.
示范区，
China will open
优
more
化
demonstration
跨境
zones for
电商
creative promotion
零
of
售
import
进口
trade,
商品清单，
optimize the catalog of
推进
retail imports while
边民沪市
cross-border
贸易进口商品
e-commerce
落地加
encourage the
工，
on-site processing of
增加
imported
自
goods
周
from
边
trading
国家
between
进口。
border residents and increase imports
中国
from
将
neighboring
推
countries.
进内外贸易一体
China will
化，
better
加
integrate
快
its
建设
domestic and
国际
foreign
消费
trade,
中心城市
speed，up the development of
发
international
展丝路
consumption
电
center
商，
cities,
构
promote
建
Silk
现
Road
代物流
e-commerce,
体系，
build modern
提升
logistics
跨
systems,
境物流
and
能
shore
力。
up the capacity of cross-border logistics.
第三，中国将
Third,
坚定不移
China
推
will
动高
firmly
水平
promote
开放
high。standard opening up.
中国将进一步
China
缩
will
减
further
外资
shorten
准
the
入负面
negative
清
list
单
for，foreign investment
有序扩大
and
电
expand
信
the、opening
医疗
of
等服务业
telecommunication,
领域开
healthcare,
放。
and other services in an
中
orderly
国将
fashion.
修订扩大
China will
鼓
revise
励
and
外商投
enlarge
资
the
产业目
encouraged
录，
industry catalog
引导更多外资
to
投
guide
向
more
先
foreign
进制造业
investment、toward
现代
sectors
服务
such
业
as、advanced
高新技术、
manufacturing, modern
节
services,
能环保
high
等
and
领
new
域，
technology,
投
energy
向
conservation,
中
and
国
environmental
中西部
protection,
和东北
and
地区
toward the central Western and Northeastern
中国将
regions.
在自由贸易试验区
China
和
will
海
conduct
南
stress tests
自由贸
for
易
high
港
standard opening
做
up
好高
in
水平
pilot
开
free
放
trade
压力
zones
测
and the
试，
Hainan Free Trade Port.
出台自由
And
贸易
will
试验
release
区
a
跨境
negative
服务
list
贸易
for
负面
cross-border
清
trading
单。
services in the pilot free trade
中国
zones.
将深度参与绿
China
色
will
低
deeply
碳、
engage in
数字
international
经济等国
cooperation
际合
on
作，
green and low carbon
积极
development
推
and
进
the
加入
digital
全
economy,
面
and work
与进
actively
步
for joining
跨
the
太平洋伙
Comprehensive
伴
and
关系
Progressive
协定、
Agreement for Trans-Pacific
数字经
Partnership
济伙伴关系协
CPTPP
定。
and the Digital Economy Partnership Agreement
第
DEPA.
四，
Fourth,
中国将坚定
China
不
will
移维护
firmly
世界共
uphold
同
the
利益。
common interests of the
中国
world.
将积极参与联合国、
China will take an
世
active
界贸
part
易
in
组织、
cooperation within the United
20国
Nations,
集团、
the WTO, the
亚太经合
G20,
组织、
APEC,
上海合作组
Shanghai
织
Cooperation
等机制
Organization,
合作，
and other institutions,
推动加强
and
贸易和
promote
投
more
资、
discussions on
数
such
字
issues
经
as
济、
trade and
绿色
investment,
低碳
the
等
digital
领
economy,
域议题
and green
探
and
讨。
low carbon development.
中国将支持疫
China
苗
will
等
support
关
the
键
fair
医疗物
distribution
资
of and
在
unimpeded
全球
trade
范围
in
内
vaccines
公
and
平
other
分
key
配
medical
和
supplies
贸易畅
across the
通。
world.
中国将推动高质
China
量
will
共建
promote
“一带一路
high-quality Belt and
使
Road
更多国家
cooperation
和人民
so
获
that
得
more
发展机
countries
遇
and
和实
peoples
惠。
will benefit from its development
中国将
opportunities
积极
and real
参与应
outcomes.
对气候变化，
China will
维
actively
护
join
全
in
球
global
粮食安
efforts
全
to
和
tackle
能源安
climate
全。
change and safeguard food
在
and
南南
energy
合作框架
security,
内，继
and
续向
provide
其
more
他发展中
assistance
国
to
家
fellow developing
提供
countries
更多援
within
助
the。framework of South-South cooperation.
女士们、先生们、朋友们，
Ladies and gentlemen, friends,
孤举者难
as a
起，
Chinese proverb reads,
众
the
行者
going may be
易
tough
趋。
when one walks alone, but it
新冠
gets
肺炎疫
easier when
情
people
阴
walk
霾未
together.
散，
As the
世界
pandemic
经济复
continues to
苏
wreak havoc
前
and
路
the
坎
global
坷，
economy faces a bumpy
各国
recovery,
人民更
it
需
is
要
all the more
同舟共
imperative
济，
that people
共
around the
克时
world
艰。
pull together to tide over this
中国
difficult
愿
time.
同各国一道，
China stands ready to work with all
共建
countries
开
to
放
build
型世
an
界经
open
济，
world economy
让开
so
放的
that the
春
spring
风
breeze of
温暖
openness
世
will
界。
bring warmth to all parts
谢
of
谢
the
大
world.
家。
Thank you.
感谢习近平主席的精彩
Thank you,
演讲
President。Xi Jinping,
刚
for
才
your
习近平
remarkable
主
speech.
席全面
Just
回
now,
顾了
President
1 年
Xi
来
Jinping
中
reviewed
国
the
扩大开
implementation
放
of
重
major
大举
opening
措的
up
落实
measures
情
in
况
the，past year.
总结了
It took
20年来
stock
中国
of
全
China's
面履行
achievement,
如是承诺
including implementing
以及
WTO
经济发展
accession
和对外
commitments,
开
and
放
promoting
取得的
economic
成就，
development and opening up in
明
the
确
past
中国
20
将
years.
坚定不
Made
移
clear
维
that
护
China
真正
will
的多边
firmly
主义，
safeguard
坚定不移
multilateralism,
同世界共
firmly
享市
share
场机
market
遇，
opportunities
坚
with
定
the
不
rest of
移
the world,
推动高水平
firmly
开放
promote，high standard
坚定
opening
不
up,
移维
and
护
firmly
世界
uphold
共同
the
利益。
common interests of the
习近
world.
平主席的重要
President
讲
Xi
话
Jinping's important
必将
speech
对
will
推动
have
中国
major
同世
and 各
界各
far-reaching
国
impact
互利合
on
作，
mutually
促
beneficial
进
cooperation
全球
between
贸易
China
发
and
展
other
产
countries,
生
and
重大
boosting
和
trade
深远的影响。
around the world.
现在请
Now
外
I
方
will
嘉
give
宾
the
致辞。
floor to distinguished guests from abroad.
"有请阿根廷总统费尔南德斯阁下
Now
致辞
let's，welcome
请
His
大家佩戴
Excellency
同传
President
耳机。
Fernandez of Argentina.
Estimado presidente Xi, hermano pueblo de la República
Your
Popular China,
Excellency, President Xi
quiero en primer
Jinping,
lugar transmitirle el afectuoso y fraterno abrazo
Chinese brothers and
del pueblo
sisters,
argentino.
good evening.
Agradezco especialmente la invitación para
At the
participar
outset, on
en
behalf
esta
of the people
cuarta
of Argentina,
edición
I would like to
de la
extend
China
heartfelt and warm
International
greetings to all of you. I
Import
want to
Expo,
express special thanks to China for
espacio de
inviting me to
intercambio y
the 4th
desarrollo
China International Import
que
Expo.
acerca tanto virtual
Through
como
this platform,
físicamente a las más
the most
importantes
important
empresas
trade
relacionadas al
companies around
comercio
the world
internacional,
may exchange views,
así como
both
también
online and
a
offline, and
destacados
seek common
representantes
development.
del sector
In
público.
addition, many public sector
La Argentina
delegates are also
posee un
attending the
vínculo
expo.
especial con la República Popular China. Por un
The
lado,
Argentina-China
China es un
relationship
socio
is a
estratégico
special
para
one.
mi país en términos
China
de comercio,
is Argentina's
inversiones y
strategic
financiamiento.
partner
Y
in
sabemos
trade investment
enorme
and
potencial
financing.
que nuestra relación
Our
bilateral
bilateral
tiene,
ties are very
dada la
promising,
amplia
and our
complementariedad
economies
entre
highly
ambas
complementary.
economías. Pero a su vez nos une una visión común
In
como
addition,
países en desarrollo y
as
una
developing
fuerte
countries,
relación de amistad
Argentina and
que
China
se ve
share
reflejada
many
no
views
solo en el estatus
and
de
have
asociación
a solid
estratégica
friendship.
integral que mantenemos
This is
desde
not
el
only
año
reflected
2014, sino
in our
también
comprehensive
en los
strategic
fructíferos
partnership,
casi
which was
50
established
años
in
de relaciones
2014,
diplomáticas.
but also in the fruitful results
En ese
that we have
contexto,
achieved
este
in the
evento,
past 50 years of
la CIIE,
diplomatic ties. In
ocupa
this
un lugar
context,
destacado
the CIIE
por ser
is
una
very
plataforma de
important
cooperación
as
y
it is a
posicionamiento comercial
strategic business
estratégico
cooperation
de
platform
nuestras
for
empresas en el
Argentina's
mercado
companies
chino
in China.
y de obligada
Through
referencia
CIIE,
para
they make
identificar
up to know
las
the
últimas
latest
tendencias
development
en los
trends
sectores
of
allí
science and
representados
technology,
de la
equipment,
ciencia y
trading
la
services,
tecnología,
food and
equipamiento,
beverage, and
comercio
many
de
other sectors.
servicios, alimentación y bebidas, entre muchos otros.
At the time, extremely
En estos
important
tiempos
for the whole
tan
world,
particulares para el mundo entero,
we
debemos
feel
saludar con
encouraged
agrado la
by
creciente
the
recuperación del
accelerated
comercio internacional y
recovery
realizar
of world trade.
nuestros mayores esfuerzos
We also need
para
to
lograr
make
un comercio
every
más
effort
abierto,
to
más
create
justo
a more
y
open,
también más
just,
equilibrado,
and
que nos
balanced trade
acerque
environment,
a un mundo en
and
el que
build a
nadie
world
quede atrás.
where no
Para
one
ello,
is
será
left
imprescindible
behind.
abordar el comercio
For this
internacional
to
desde una
happen,
perspectiva
we must
donde
view
todos ganen,
international trade
ganar y
from
ganar,
a win-win perspective.
considerando
We
nuestras
need to take full
fortalezas
account of
y
our
nuestros
strengths
desafíos.
and challenges.
La Argentina y
pursue
China ya han
mutual
emprendido
benefits.
este camino, como puede
Argentina and
corroborarse
China
en el
have
fuerte
embarked on
crecimiento
such
del
a
comercio entre
win-win
ambas
path,
naciones. China,
which can be
desde
proven
hace más
by the
de una
vibrant
década,
bilateral trade.
el segundo
China
socio
has been
comercial de mi
Argentina's
país, e
second
incluso
largest trading
el
partner
primero
for
durante
over
algunos
10 years.
meses en
In some
2019 y
months
en
of
2020.
2019 and 2020, China
También,
even became
desde el
our
gobierno
biggest
argentino hemos
trading
buscado y
partner.
lo hemos logrado fortalecer el carácter
The
federal de las
Argentine government
exportaciones
has all
argentinas,
along made
generando
nationwide
una
efforts
mayor
to achieve
participación de las
increase
empresas
of export.
y las provincias,
We encourage
tanto en la
domestic
balanza
companies
comercial
and
como en
provinces
la
to take a
participación en
more
diversas
active part in
actividades y
foreign
ferias
trade
comerciales,
at various
como
kinds
puede
of
verse, por
international
ejemplo,
exhibitions.
en los
For
variados
example,
orígenes
at this
que tienen las
CIIE,
empresas
you may
argentinas
see different
que están
types of companies
participando
from different
precisamente
parts of
en esta
Argentina.
edición de la CIIE.
Therefore,
En tal sentido, la República
China
Popular
is
China
an
ha
important
sido un gran
partner for
aliado
Argentina
para promover
to
esta
promote
sinergia
local
federal,
development.
ya que la potencia de sus propias provincias
Chinese
nos
provinces
permitió
all
incrementar
have
la
great
participación en las
strength.
ferias provinciales
Argentine
chinas,
provinces
a la vez que se
may
profundizaron
participate in
los
more
lazos entre las
exhibitions
unidades
held
subnacionales
by
de
Chinese
ambos
provinces,
países.
which will
Por
help
otro lado, el
deepen
desarrollo de
subnational
nuevas
links
tecnologías y
between
las
the two
mejoras
countries.
de
At the
conectividad
same
han dado un gran
time,
respaldo
the
al comercio
development of new
electrónico, que
technologies
sin
and
duda
improvement of
ha sido un aliado
interconnectivity
fundamental
have also
para las
greatly
empresas
boosted the
y los
development of
consumidores
e-commerce.
de todo el
Without
mundo
doubt, in
durante
this difficult
estos
time of
difíciles
pandemic,
tiempos de
e-commerce
pandemia.
has greatly benefited
Este comercio
companies and
electrónico,
consumers
en el que
around the
China
world.
posee un papel destacado, no
China
solo ha
is
permitido
a leading
acercar
country in
una
this
mayor
field.
oferta de bienes y
Through
servicios
e-commerce,
a todos
China
los
has not
rincones
only
del
provided more
mundo,
goods and
sino que
services to the
también
world,
ha posibilitado la
but also
participación
created
de
trade
numerosas y
opportunities
diversas
for many
pequeñas y medianas empresas.
SMEs.
En el caso de la Argentina,
Many
muchas pequeñas y
Argentine
medianas empresas
SMEs
que ya
are
exportaban sus
exporting
productos
products
a China
to China
han
through
aprovechado las
e-commerce
ventajas del comercio
platforms,
electrónico para
where they
difundir
can
aún más sus
better promote
productos y
their
llegar a
products
nuevos
and make them
consumidores.
more popular
Otras,
among
sin
consumers.
exportaciones previas a
Some
China,
other companies
han realizado
didn't
sus primeras
export to China
exportaciones
in
hacia
the
el
past.
mercado gracias
They
al
are
esfuerzo
starting to
conjunto
do
del
so
gobierno
now
argentino,
by leveraging
las y los
the synergy
productores
of
y
Argentine
las
government
facilidades de las nuevas
produces a new
tecnologías.
technology.
Quisiera destacar en
I
este sentido que
believe
no solo la
that
forma de
new
comerciar ha
technology
cambiado
has changed
debido a las nuevas
both the
tecnologías,
form and
sino que
substance
también ha
of
cambiado
trade.
lo que se comercia
With the
al
development of new
incrementarse
technology,
el peso
the
del
share of
comercio de
service
servicios
trade
en las balanzas
has
comerciales,
increased.
al
The
desdibujarse
traditional boundary
las líneas
of
tradicionales
service,
entre estos y la
agriculture,
agricultura y
and
las manufacturas
industrial manufacturing
industriales.
is
Por su parte, la
increasingly
Argentina
blurred.
viene aumentando y promoviendo
Argentina
la
has all
participación de
along
empresas
been encouraging
tecnológicas
domestic
nacionales en el
high-tech
mercado
companies
chino,
to take part
contando
in
este
China's
año
market
con la mayor
development.
cantidad de empresas
This year,
tecnológicas
there is a
inscritas en
record
ferias
high
e
of
iniciativas
Argentine high-tech
comerciales
companies
en China.
registering in
A modo
various
de
types of
ejemplo,
exhibitions
solo
and
basta con
business
observar los
activities in
grandes
China.
exponentes
For
argentinos
example,
de, entre
large
otras,
Argentine
las
companies
industrias de
participating
servicios
in this
basadas en
expo
conocimiento,
cover sectors such as
biotecnología, agrotecnología,
knowledge
que se
services, services,
encuentran en esta edición de
biotechnology,
la
and
CIIE
agricultural technology.
así como la que han
The
participado en la
recent China
pasada
International Fair
CIIE,
for Trading Services
ofreciendo
also
servicios
saw the
innovadores en
participation
tecnología
of
aeroespacial,
Argentine companies
energética,
in
turismo,
space
deporte,
technology,
industrias creativas
energy,
e industrias
tourism,
culturales
sports,
también.
creative industry,
En
and
todos estos
cultural
campos que he
industry,
mencionado,
innovation
la Argentina y
services.
China ya
All the
encuentran
sectors that I
un lugar de
mentioned,
cooperación.
Argentina
Y
and
estoy
China
seguro que el
are
futuro
conducting
solo traerá
cooperation.
una mayor
I'm confident
unión
that
y
Argentina
beneficio
and China
mutuo
will
para
be even
nuestros
more
países.
united in the
Los
future
invito
and
entonces
conduct
a
more
recorrer
mutually
nuestro stand
beneficial cooperation.
institucional
I
y
invite
conocer
all of
más
you to visit
sobre
the
las
Argentine
múltiples
pavilion of this
oportunidades que
expo
tenemos
to explore more
para
business
avanzar
opportunities
en la
and advance
concreción de
cooperation.
nuestros objetivos
Last but
compartidos.
not least, I once
Una vez
again
más,
give my sincere
vaya mi
greetings
fraternal
to the
saludo
Chinese
para las
government and
autoridades y el
people.
pueblo chino.
Thank you.
Muchísimas gracias.
感谢费尔南德斯总统。
Thank you, President Fernandez.
下面有请哈萨克斯坦
Now let's
总统
welcome His
托卡
Excellency
耶夫阁下致
President
辞。
Tokayev of Kazakhstan.
Құрметті төраға Си Цзиньпин мырза, қадірлі көрмеге қатысушылар,
Your
ханымдар мен мырзалар,
Excellency, President Xi
баршаңызды
Jinping,
төтінші
dear
Қытай
delegates,
халықаралық импорт
ladies and
көрмесінің
gentlemen,
ашылуымен құттықтаймын.
at the outset,
Биыл
I would like to
біздің
extend
достас
warm
халықтарымыз
congratulations on the
өз
opening of
тарихындағы
the 4th China
маңызды
International
белеске
Import
жетті.
Expo. This
Қазақстан
year is a
тәуелсіздігіне
milestone for the
30
people
жыл.
of both Kazakhstan
Қытай
and China.
коммунистік партиясының
Kazakhstan
құрылғанына
celebrates the 30th
100 жыл.
anniversary of independence,
Сондай-ақ 2 айдан
and
кейін
the CPC
тағы бір
marks
айтулы
the
оқиғаны
centenary of
атап
its founding.
өтеміз. Қазақстан мен Қытайдың арасында дипломатиялық
another
қатынас
milestone.
орнағанына 30 жыл
That
толады.
is the 30th
Мен
anniversary
бүгін
of
біздің
diplomatic
жан-жақты
ties between the
әрі
two
мәңгілік
countries.
стратегиялық серіктестігіміз
Today, I
кемелденіп,
can announce with
жаңа
full
кезеңге
confidence
қадам басты деп
that the
нық сеніммен
Kazakhstan-China
айта аламын.
everlasting
Қарқынды
comprehensive
дамып келе
strategic
жатқан
partnership has
Қытай елі
matured and
әрдайым
entered a
Азиядағы
new stage of
ең басты
development.
және сенімді
I'm
серіктесіміз
convinced
болып қала
that
береді.
a vibrant China
Өзара
is
тиімді
always
екіжақты
Kazakhstan's
ынтымақтастық
important and reliable
кең
partner
байтақ
in Asia.
Еуразия құрылымында
On the vast
бірлесе даму
Eurasian
мен
continent,
өркендеуге жол ашып
Kazakhstan-China
отыр.
mutually beneficial
Сауда
cooperation
экономикалық
has become
қатынастар
an indispensable
ықпалдастығымыздың
factor for
берік
common progress
іргетасы.
and prosperity.
Алдағы кезеңде
Economic
солай бола
cooperation and
бермек.
trade have all
Қиындыққа
along
қарамастан
been a firm
күрделі
basis for
2020 жылдың
Kazakhstan-China
өзінде
Despite some
екіжақты
challenges,
тауар
our
айналымы
bilateral trade
5%-ға
still grew by
өсіп
5%
15
in
миллиард
2020,
доллардан асты.
reaching
Өзгерістер
15
желі
billion
соққанда біреулер қабырға тұрғызады, енді
When
біреулер
changes
жел
come,
диірмен салады
some take the
деген көне
initiative to
Қытай
embrace
нақылы
it,
бар.
while
Пандемияға
others
байланысты
build fences
Қазақстан
to reject
Қытай
the
шекарасына енгізілген
this
уақытша
context,
шектеу шаралары тезірек
confident
аяқталып,
that
алыс-беріс
the pandemic
қайтадан
control measures
жандана түседі
adopted
деп
at our border
сенемін.
ports will
Сауда
be
саттық
removed
әрдайым
soon, and our
өркендеудің
bilateral
және
trade
халықаралық
will grow once
ынтымақтастықтың
again.
басты қозғаушы күші саналады.
Trade
Бұл
has all
қағидат
along been a
ғасырлар
major
бойы
driver
ұлы
for
жібек
progress
жолының
and
бойында
international
орналасқан
cooperation.
біздің өңір үшін
It is
де
also
аса
vital
маңызды.
to our region,
Осы
which
ежелгі сауда
witnessed
жолы
hundreds of years
төраға
of
Си
exchanges
Цзиньпиннің
along the ancient
белдеулер
Silk
мен
Road.
жолдар атты
Thanks to
ауқымды
President Xi Jinping's
бастамасының
Belt and Road
арқасында
Initiative,
қайта
the ancient
жаңғырды.
Silk Road has
Қазір
regained
жыл
strength.
сайын Қытайдан Еуропаға
Every year,
Қазақстан
over
аумағы арқылы
500,000
мыңнан астам
containers are
контейнер
transported
тасымалданады.
from China to
Құрық
Europe
теңіз
through
айлағы
Kazakhstan.
іске қосылғаннан кейін
After
Ляньюнган
the Kuwait
Карс
port
тасымал
was
дәлізімен
incorporated into the
Қорғастан
transport
Стамбулға
corridor
жүк
between
жеткізу
Liaoning
мерзімі
and Kaus,
5 есеге,
cargo transport time
яғни
from Hongqiao to
60
Istanbul
күннен
has been shortened
13 күнге
by
дейін қысқарды.
80%, from
Біз
60 days to
Қорғастан
only
бөлек
13 days.
бірқатар
Apart
көршілес
from
елдермен
Kazakhstan
жаңа
is also
шекара
exploring the
аралық хаб
possibility
құрып
of setting
жатырмыз.
up new
Өкінішке
cross-border
қарай
connectivity hubs
бүкіл
with
әлемді
its
шарпыған
neighbors.
коронавирус індеті
Regrettably, the
жаһандық сауда
worldwide
желісінің
spread of
жұмысына
COVID-19
айтарлықтай
has
нұқсан
dealt a heavy
келтірді.
blow to international
Қазақстан
trade
тұрақты
and supply
транзиттік
chains.
тасымал бағдарын
Kazakhstan
нығайтып,
has all along
сондай-ақ
maintained close
оны
cooperation with other parties
әртараптандырып,
to increase the
инновациялық
diversity
логистикалық
and
әдіс
stability of
тәсілдерді
connectivity
енгізу үшін
and
барлық
continue to
мүдделі
explore new
тараппен тығыз
logistic
жұмыс
and
жүргізе
transport
береді.
plans.
Құрметті ханымдар
Ladies
мен
and
мырзалар,
gentlemen,
бүгін
without
есігін айқара ашқан
exaggeration,
Қытай
the
халықаралық
welcoming
импорт көрмесі
CIIE
шын
is
мәнінде
highly popular
дүние жүзінің
among
әр
exporters
түпкіріндегі
around the world.
экспортшыларды ұйыстыратын орталыққа айналды.
Producers
Осы
from
маңызды
over
шараға 120-дан астам
120
мемлекеттен
countries
are
тауар
gathered here
өндірушілер жиналып отыр.
making
Бұл Шанхай
CIIE
көрмесі
a golden gate
Қытайдағы
to
алып
access
нарыққа
the
кіретін
vast
алтын
Chinese
қақпа
market.
екенін айқын көрсетті. Осы көрмеге
A
Қазақстаннан
total of 30
30 ірі
leading companies
өнім
from
өндіруші
Kazakhstan
қатысуда.
are participating
Олар
in
жалпы
this
құны
expo.
100
They
миллион
expected to
доллардан
sign
асатын
food and
азық-түлік
agricultural
және
export
ауыл шаруашылығы
worth
өнімдерін
over
сатуға
100
келісім шарт
million
жасайды
US
деп
dollars.
жоспарланып отыр.
But this
Дегенмен,
figure can
өзара
hardly
тиімді
reflect the
сауданың
huge
орасан
potential
зор
of our
әлеуеті
bilateral trade.
бұл көрсеткішпен
Our two
ғана
sides
өлшенбейді.
may further
Біздің
increase
елдеріміз
trade,
тауарлардың
and
алыс
there is
берісін
much
әлдеқайда
to be done.
ұлғайта алады. Бұған толық мүмкіндік бар.
Kazakhstan is
Осы ретте
ready to
Қазақстанның
align its
стратегиялық
strategic
басымдықтары
priority
мен
projects
Қытайдың қосарланған
with
айналым
China's
стратегиясы
dual
аясында
circulation strategy.
жобаларды ұштастыру үшін ықпалдасуға дайынбыз. Бұл
For
міндетті
this to
орындауға
happen,
қажетті
we
мызғымас
not only
институционалдық
have
негіз қаланған.
solid institutional
Ең
support,
бастысы, жоғары
but
деңгейдегі
also
саяси
strong political
ерік
will.
жігеріміз бар. Біз күш-қуатымызды жұмылдырып, кез келген
I'm
мәселені
convinced
бірлесе талқылай
that
отырып, өзара тиімді ынтымақтастық
as
орнату
long as
қағидаттарын
we stick
беріп
together,
ұстанамыз.
pursue
Сол арқылы
extensive consultation,
баршаға
joint
ортақ
contribution, and
өркендеген
shared
әлемге
benefits,
жол ашамыз.
we will build
Мен бұған кәміл
interconnected
сенемін.
and
Сөз
prosperous
соңында
world.
Шанхай көрмесіне қатысушылардың жұмысына табыс тілеймін.
To
Өзара
conclude,
тиімді сауда байланыстарының
I wish
көкжиегі
the
кеңейе берсін.
CIIE a
Назарыңызға
complete
рахмет.
success, and I wish all of you further progress in expanding
感
mutual
谢
beneficial
托卡耶夫
trade.
总统。
Thank you.
下面有请赞比亚总统希奇莱
Now
马阁
let's
下致辞。
welcome His President Hichilema of Zambia.
Your Excellencies, it is with great honor and privilege that I join you at this year's China International Import Expo. First and foremost, I would like to thank the government of the People's Republic of China for the invitation to speak at this auspicious event. Zambia and China share historical relations dating back to the liberation struggle and construction of the Tazara Railway. We owe it to our founding fathers, Chairman Mao and Dr. Kenneth Kaunda, for the inspirational wisdom that laid the foundation for these existing relations, benefiting or befitting of the term all-weather friends. I therefore wish to acknowledge the support received from China in a variety of social-economic areas and look forward to enhanced cooperation going forward in areas such as trade and investment, considering the potential that exists between our two countries. I therefore wish to commend the government of the People's Republic of China for successfully organizing this expo, which provides a platform to foster trade and investment linkages. Zambia considers this expo essential for the unique platform it provides to participants and visitors to share trade and investment information. Your Excellencies, China and Zambia have been partnering in a number of projects that are important for the development of our country in key sectors such as energy, infrastructure, and manufacturing, amongst others. China continues to be Zambia's second largest trading partner, with exports to China in 2020 exceeding US $1.5 billion, and imports amounting to US $2.4 billion in 2020. During this period, Zambia's main exports to China have been minerals, tobacco, and cotton, whereas China's main export to Zambia included broadcasting services equipment, agricultural, construction, and items such as tractors, iron structures, generating sets, equipment for grinding and crushing materials, and pneumatic tires. It is our government's intention to narrow the trade gap by increasing Zambia's exports to China. Zambia is therefore excited to be part of this fourth China International Import Expo, which is focused on promoting trade and investment. The focus of the Expo resonates well with the development agenda of my government. It is my hope that this Expo will draw like-minded entrepreneurs and investors towards these important goals of the Expo and that the process will open up new areas for trade and economic cooperation between our two countries and indeed other participating countries. Zambia looks forward to this year's Expo to take our trade relationship with China to greater heights by partnering in ventures that will focus on value addition to our natural resources, technology, ventures, and skills transfer to facilitate and allow more finished and semi-processed products to be imported into China. Your Excellencies, I cannot overemphasize the existence of an abundance of natural resources with respect to their high quality and relatively wide variety that should attract quality investments and trade to Zambia. These include mineral resources of metals such as copper, cobalt, zinc, lead, and gold, precious stones such as emeralds. Zambia holds approximately 6% of the world's total copper deposits. Abundant water sources. Zambia is estimated to have 40% of fresh water in the sub-Saharan region. Vast arable land resource base of 42 million hectares, of which only 1.5 million hectares is cultivated every year. Access and proximity to the strategic and large markets of the economic and trade blocs, such as the Common Market for Southern and East African countries, COMESA, Southern African Development Community, SADC, and more recently, the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, providing a regional market of 1.2 billion people with an estimated $3 trillion in combined gross domestic product. Available youthful, skilled, and hard-working human resources, and most of all, a peaceful and politically stable economy with no record of civil wars since we attained our independence many years back. Your Excellencies, I would therefore like to take this opportunity to extend an invitation to all international delegates and investors that are present here to come to Zambia and explore the trade and investment opportunities that our country has to offer across all sectors. It is my hope that after the Expo, a number of investors will seize the opportunity offered by Zambia and its conducive business environment. Lastly, but not the least, on behalf of the Zambian people, and indeed on my own behalf, I would like to once again thank the government of the People's Republic of China for inviting us to be part of this important expo. We are indeed very grateful to be part of this international event, which provides a platform and greater opportunities for companies from developing countries like Zambia to promote their products and services to the global market. Let me conclude by reaffirming Zambia's commitment towards a mutual partnership between Zambia and China. I thank you. Session.
感谢西西莱马总统。
Thank you, President Xi Jinping.
下面有请意大利总
I
理
now give
德拉
the
吉阁
floor
下致
to
辞。
Prime Minister Mario Draghi of Italy.
President Xi, esteemed colleagues, honored guests, it is a great pleasure to address you today at the opening ceremony of the 4th edition of the China International Import Expo in Shanghai. The exposition is one of the biggest trade promotion events in China and in the world. It embodies your country's commitment to international trade, as witnessed by the large number of companies involved. Italy's businesses are present in large numbers. More than 100 are here. The Italian national pavilions focus on beauty, fashion, and on cutting-edge technology in healthcare, life sciences, and the environment. They showcase human creativity and ingenuity, the main themes of this exposition. Global trade is one of the most important engines of the global recovery. It has picked up strongly after slowing down considerably during the initial phase of the pandemic. The strong commercial relationship between Italy and China shows this rebound clearly. In the first 6 months of 2021, Italy's exports to China were worth 7.8 billion, a 20.8% increase compared to the first semester of 2019 before the health crisis. And imports from China were roughly 17.5 billion, 12.8% higher than before the start of the pandemic. Trade should be free and fair. We must preserve a level playing field and promote an open multilateral trade system based on the principles of the World Trade Organization. Transparency, reciprocity, inclusivity, and sustainability benefit both consumers and producers, importers and exporters. The Expo can play an important role in fostering a more sustainable and inclusive recovery. Trade should be at the service of people, not the other way around. We must never lose sight of our guiding values, principles, and standards. They have been at the core of Italy's G20 presidency and of our partnership with the United Kingdom for the COP26, and we thank China for its support. The free circulation of goods and services is an essential step towards a full recovery. I hope it will soon be followed by the gradual reopening of borders to allow the free circulation of people. I wish you a successful Expo. Thank you.
感谢德拉吉总理。
Thank you, Prime Minister Draghi.
下面有请泰国总理
I now
巴
give
育
the
阁下致
floor
辞。
to Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha of Thailand.
ท่านประธานาธิบดีสีจิ้นผิง
Your
ผู้แทน
Excellency
ภาครัฐ
President Xi
และภาค
Jinping,
เอกชนจากประเทศ
business
ต่าง
leaders,
ๆ แขกผู้มีเกียรติทุกท่าน
distinguished
ต้า
guests.
เจีย หวานช่างเห่า สวัสดีครับ ก่อนอื่น
Good
ผม
evening.
ขอแสดงความยินดี ในโอกาสครบรอบ 100 ปี
First,
การก่อตั้งพรรค
congratulations
คอมมิวนิสต์จีน
on the centenary
และขอ
of
เป็น
the
กำลังใจ
Communist Party of
ให้ท่าน
China.
ประธานาธิบดีสี
And
จิ้น
I
ผิง
wish President
และรัฐ
Xi
บาลจีน
Jinping and the Chinese
ประสบความ
government
สำเร็จ
success
ในการ
in
สร้าง
achieving the goal of
Common
common prosperity.
prosperity ตามเป้าหมายที่วางไว้ ประเทศไทยสนับสนุนการจัดงาน CIIE
Thailand
มา
has
ตลอด
participated
โดยเข้าร่วมงานทั้ง
in the
4 ครั้ง
China
และครั้งนี้
International Import
ในนามของ
Expo
รัฐบาลไทย
for 4
ผมรู้สึก
times.
ยินดีเป็นอย่างยิ่ง
I am
ที่ได้เข้าร่วม
privileged
ในพิธี
to
เปิดงานแสด
once
งสิน
again
ค้า
attend the
ที่มีความ
opening
สำคัญ
ceremony
ระ
of
ดั
the
บโลก
global
ในครั้งนี้
gathering on behalf of the Thai
งาน
government.
CIIE
At
นอก
last
จากจะ
year's
เป็นงานที่
opening
รวบรวม
ceremony
ผู้
of
ค้า
the
จากทั่วโลกแล้ว
CIIE, President Xi
ยัง
said
เป็นพันธ
that
สัญญา
China will
ที่
steadfastly
แสดงถึง
expand all
เจตนาร
round
มณ์
opening up
อันแน่วแน่
and turn the Chinese
ในการ
market
เปิดเส
into
รี
a market for the
และการ
world,
สร้างสมดุ
a
ลทาง
market
การ
shared
ค้า
by all,
ระหว่าง
and a
จีน
market
กับทั่วโลก
accessible to all.
ไม่ว่าจะต้องเผชิญกับความท้าทาย
Despite
ใดๆก็ตาม
various challenges,
ดังคำมั่นสัญญา
CIIE is
ของ
still
ท่าน
held
ประธา
on
นาธิบดี
schedule
สีจิ้นผิง เมื่อครั้งเปิด
and
งาน
has brought together
CIIE
businesses
ปีที่
from
ผ่านมา
around the world.
ว่า
It has
จะทำให้
firmly
ตลาดจีน
implemented
เป็นตลาด
presidency's
โลก
solemn
เป็น
commitments
ตลาดที่เอื้อ
and
ประโยชน์ทุก
demonstrated
ฝ่าย
China's vision
และ
for
เป็นตลาด
openness,
ของทุกคน
cooperation, and balanced trade.
การร่วมงาน CIIE
Our
จึงไม่เพียง
participation
เสริมสร้าง
in
ความ
the
สัมพันธ์ทางการ
CIIE
ค้า
will not
ระหว่าง
only
ไทยกับจีน
promote trade
แต่ยังเปิดโอกาส
relations between
ให้ผู้
Thailand
ประกอบ
and
การไทย
China, but also
ได้พบกับ
help
ผู้ค้า
Thai
ทั่วโลก
businesses
รวมถึง
communicate
ได้
with
ศึกษา
companies.
เทรนด์การค้าโลกในอนาคตอีกด้วย งาน CIIE ในปีนี้
Understand
ป
the
ระเทศไทย
developing trends
โดยกระทรวงพาณิชย์
of global trade.
ได้นำสิน
At
ค้า
this
กลุ่ม
year's
อาหารและเครื่องดื่ม
CIIE,
มาแนะน
Thailand's
ำให้
Ministry
พี่น้อง
of
ชาวจีน
Commerce will bring
ได้รู้จักเพิ่ม
more
มากขึ้น
varieties of
อุ
specialties
ตสาห
and
กรรมอาหาร
drinks
ของ
to
เรา
our Chinese
มีความ
friends.
โดดเด่นและหลากหลาย ปัจจุ
Thailand's
บัน
unique
ไทย
food
เป็นผู้
industry
ส่งออกอาหารและ
provides
สิ
a
นค้าเกษต
variety
ร
of
รายใหญ่
products
ลำดับต้น
and
ขอ
is
งโลก
a leading
โดยรัฐบาลไทย
exporter of food
ให้ความ
and
สำคัญ
agricultural
และ
products.
ส่งเสริมการใช้
The Thai
นวัตกรรม
government follows the
เพื่อยกระดับอุตสาหกรรมอาหาร
green
ให้ดียิ่ง
economic
ขึ้น
model.
ทั้งในด้านคุณภาพและ
We
ควา
are
มปลอดภัย
striving for higher
ตามแนว
quality
ทางของ
and greater
โมเดล
safety
เศรษฐกิ
in
จ
our
BCG
innovation-driven
เพื่อ
food
ส่งมอบ
industry,
สิ่งที่ดีที่สุด
and will
ให้
provide
กับผู้บ
the
ริโภค
best
ทั่วโลก
products to
นอก
consumers
จากนี้
around the world.
หากท่านเคยเดินทางมาประเทศไทย คง
If you
ทราบ
have
ดี
been
ว่า
to Thailand,
หนึ่งในเอกลักษณ์ของ
I
อา
am
หารไทย
sure
คือ
you
ส
would
ตรีท
know
ฟู้ด
about the street
ซึ่งได้รับ
snatches,
ความนิยมอย่างแพร่หลาย
which is
ทั้ง
a
ชาวไทย
special feature of
และ
Thai
ชาวต่าง
food.
ประเทศ
They are
ในด้านรส
affordable,
ชาติ
delicious,
ราคา
and unique,
และ
and
คุ
are
ณภาพ
widely popular with
ใน
the
ฐานะที่
Thai
จีน
people and
เป็น
people
คู่ค้าอัน
around
ดับ
the
หนึ่ง
world.
ของไทยมายาวนาน
China for many years
ผม
has
ปรา
been
รถนา
Thailand's
ที่
largest
เห็นไทย
trading
และจีน
partner. I look
มีความ
forward
ร่วมมือ
to
ที่ใกล้ชิด
closer
ยิ่งขึ้น
and
ใน
mutually
ทุกมิติ
beneficial cooperation
บน
between
พื้น
our two
ฐานของผล
countries
ประโยชน์
across
ร่วม
the
กัน
board.
ในหลายปีที่ผ่านมา
For years,
เราได้ทุ่ม
we
เท
have been
ทรัพยา
committed
กร
to making
เพื่อ
Thailand's
EEC
East
เป็นหนึ่งใน
Economic
สะพานเชื่อม
Corridor an important
ระหว่างอาเซียน
bridge
กับ
connecting
BRI ของ
ASEAN
จีน
and China's Belt and
ซึ่ง
Road
ผมหวังว่า
Initiative
จะช่วยเศรษฐ
and
กิจ
make
ของทั้ง
our
สองประเทศ
economic
เติบ
cooperation
โตอ
more
ย่างสมดุล
balanced,
ยั่งยืน
sustainable,
และครอบคลุม
and
ใน
all
ทุกด้าน
inclusive.
ผมขอขอบคุณรัฐบาลจีน
I
ที่ได้
really
เปิดด่าน
appreciate
นำเข้าผล
the
ไม้
Chinese
จากไทย
government
และอาเซียน
adding
เพิ่ม
new ports for
และหวังว่า
fruit
จะมีเพิ่ม
imports
ขึ้น
from
อีก
Thailand
ในอ
and
นาคต
ASEAN. And
เพราะ
we
นอก
look
จากจะเป็น
forward
การสร้าง
to
รายได้
more of such
ให้
ports.
กับเกษตรกรไทย
This
แล้ว
will not only increase the
ผู้บริโภค
income
ชาว
of
จีน
Thai farmers,
ยังได้มีโอ
but
กาส
also
ลิ้
provide
มรสผล
fresh
ไม้สด
Thai
จากไทย
fruits
อีก
to
ด้วย
the Chinese consumers.
ซึ่งถือเป็นหนึ่งในตัวอย่างของ
It
ค
is
วามสำเร็จ
indeed a true
ในการสร้างผล
reflection
ประโยชน์ร่วม
of
กัน
practical cooperation
อย่างเป็น
between
รูป
our
ธรรม
two countries.
ผมเชื่อว่าไทยและจีนยังสามารถขยายและพัฒนาความร่วมมือระหว่างกันได้อีกมาก
Thailand cooperation will
โดยไทย
continue to expand
พร้อมที่จะแสวงหาลู่ทาง และโอกาสใหม่ๆ เพื่อยกระดับความร่วมมือระหว่างกันต่อไป ขณะนี้ประเทศไทยอยู่ระหว่างการฟื้นฟูเศรษฐกิจและสังคม เพื่อนำไปสู่การพลิกโฉมประเทศอย่างรอบด้าน โดยแรงขับเคลื่อนหนึ่งที่ทำให้ไทยสามารถดำเนินการในเรื่องดังกล่าวอย่างเป็นขั้นเป็นตอนได้ก็คือการได้รับความช่วยเหลือจากจีนทั้งในเรื่องวัคซีนยาและเวชภัณฑ์เพื่อใช้ต่อสู้กับการแพร่ระบาดของโควิดในระยะที่ผ่านมา ดังนั้นผมขอใช้โอกาสนี้ขอบคุณรัฐบาลและประชาชนจีนอีกครั้งหนึ่งและรอที่จะต้อนรับพี่น้องชาวจีนที่ประเทศไทยในเร็ววันสุดท้ายนี้ผมขออวยพรให้ทุกท่านมีสุขภาพแข็งแรงและขอให้งาน CIIE ประสบความสำเร็จยิ่งขึ้นในทุกๆปีเพื่อเป็นวิธีหลักทางการค้าระหว่างไทยจีนและกับประชาคมโลกต่อไปขอบคุณครับ
And I wish this expo a full success. Thank you.
感谢巴育总理。
Thank you,
下
Prime
面有
Minister
请
Prayut.
斐济代理总
I
理
now give the
塞
floor
鲁伊拉图
to
阁
the
下致
acting
辞。
Prime Minister Inia Sariratu of Fiji.
Your Excellency, President Xi Jinping, heads of state and government, heads of international organizations, heads of delegations, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Nisambul Binaka, Ni Hao. I am delighted today to join other leaders and captains of industry to express my support for a truly amazing event, the 4th China International Import Expo, that brings together nearly 3,000 enterprises from 127 countries from November 5th to the 10th. Excellency, the sheer size and scope of the online event indicates the leading place of Chinese businesses on a global stage. I wish your government and the Expo organizers all the best for the success of such important and strategic event. Despite not being able to meet in person, I thank the Chinese government for the containment protocols that have provided global leaders an opportunity to participate virtually. The hosting of this expo in the midst of a pandemic highlights China's resolve to share its market opportunities and contribute to global economic recovery. Fiji is grateful to China in this regard and looks forward to capitalize on this platform for a robust exchange of ideas. Fiji has been participating at the China International Import Expo since its inception in 2018, and last year was able to launch the Fiji Import Pavilion at the Global Commodity Hub, the G-Hub, in Shanghai to echo the concept of 365+7 promoted by the Chinese government. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the restoration of cross-border trade and investment is vital to the global economic recovery. A return to trade and investment-led growth will hinge on creating enabling conditions for businesses to thrive. Excellencies, border closures and disruption are a problem and hamper the determination we have to make Fiji the ideal investment destination. Despite these challenges, we have expedited reforms to make Fiji a competitive and preferred trade and investment destination. We also need to look beyond the disruptions to supply chain and ensure that trade of products and services return to pre-COVID status to facilitate recovery of income for those that have lost their jobs and income. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, given the challenges ahead, we have embraced the important reality that it is no longer business as usual. Accordingly, we are looking towards China and our development partners to create the right opportunities for our businesses and people. We are witnessing a dramatic growth in the use of digital technologies that have proven extremely useful for our businesses, helping them to respond nimbly to the severe disruption caused by COVID-19. In Fiji, this has allowed businesses to develop a new business continuity plans and reorganize themselves better. Platforms such as the China International Import Expo have enabled established businesses to access markets even without having a physical presence. The digital country pavilions will enable countries like Fiji to actively participate in the China International Import Expo. The establishment of the Fijian Virtual Country Pavilion will serve as a multi-purpose platform to promote and give a comprehensive image of Fiji as an ideal destination for investment and holidays as well. As a producer of pristine, unique products, China International Import Expo will be the first major platform to promote Fijian tourism with border reopening in sight. Indeed, it is through such forms of digital platforms that economic recovery can be achieved by nations like Fiji. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, Fiji has not been exempt from the impacts of COVID-19. Prior to the pandemic, Fiji exhibited an average of 3.2% consecutive growth for an entire decade. The Fijian economy declined by 15.5% following the first wave of the pandemic in 2020. It is forecasted to contract by 4.1% this year. These challenges have doubly strengthened our resolve to rebuild better and stronger, rebuild a resilient and robust economy which will rise to its full potential. Our long-term sustainability is dependent on our ability to adapt and recreate our economies. In this, the Fijian government, through our 2021-2022 national budget, has implemented initiatives and programs with specific focus on a creative economy. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the move towards a digital economy has become more critical now than ever before. The extreme disruption caused by the pandemic has pushed businesses to embrace cutting-edge technology. It has made businesses more resilient. Engaging in digital technologies and digital commerce will also assist the region in achieving a Blue Pacific. We will be able to harness new economic opportunities that will allow for cleaner technologies, which will contribute to our vision for a resilient Blue Pacific continent. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it goes without saying that e-commerce is critical for international trade. It is transforming the way in which the world trades. Thus, digital uptake has enabled businesses to respond quickly to the extreme disruption and permitted them to foster new business designs and better position themselves for resilience. Fiji has been leveraging over 2 decades of investment in ICT infrastructure, and it is ideally located as the hub for transportation routes within the Pacific. This complements our efforts of business reforms that have not only promoted competition amongst telecom operators, but created a conducive environment for e-commerce to grow. Fijian businesses and consumers that were able to go digital have helped mitigate further economic downturn. The Fijian government reiterates its commitment to ensuring tourism remains a pillar for socio-economic prosperity. sustainable development, and most importantly, inclusivity. We acknowledge the commitment towards the Sustainable Development Goals and its unique ability to ensuring that nobody is left behind, especially during these very challenging times. As we prepare for reopening, we reaffirm our collective commitment as a nation to build back better, stimulate decent jobs, and transform to a greener economy. In closing, I wish the organizers and all participants the very best in this year's 4th China International Import Expo. 谢谢。
感谢塞鲁伊拉图阁下。
Thank you.
下面有请世界贸易组织总干事伊维拉女士致辞。
Director General of the WTO, Hongqiao International.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it's indeed an honor and a pleasure to take part in this opening ceremony. I would like to thank President Xi for his leadership in organizing the China International Import Expo, now in its 4th edition. I'm happy that the World Trade Organization continues to be a partner in this important event. This year's Expo puts the emphasis on economic recovery and growth. Trade and multilateral cooperation both have critical roles to play in the recovery. Our connected global economy has made the world more vulnerable to shocks, transport disruptions, supply chain breakdowns, pandemic knock-on effects. At the same time, globalized markets have made the world economy more resilient, for instance, by allowing domestic production shortages of food or medical supplies to be addressed through trade. China is well placed to recognize the value of open international markets. China's economic rise, made possible in part by its membership in the WTO, has raised incomes and lifted millions out of poverty, not only in China, but also in China's trading partners in the developing world. In 2000, China accounted for 3.9% of world exports and 3.4% of world imports. By 2020, despite the pandemic, these shares had risen to 14.7% and 11.5% respectively. In purchasing parity terms, per capita incomes grew from $3,400 in 2000 to $16,200 last year, and extreme poverty has essentially been eliminated. China has successfully positioned itself at the core of many global value chains. These production and trade networks have not only provided a lifeline for many countries during the pandemic, they have also increased the quality and variety of goods available around the world. This year marks the 20th anniversary of China's membership of the WTO. Bringing China into an organization premised on rules and adjudication represented a paradigm shift for the country. For the rest of the world, it held the promise of more predictable and mutually beneficial trading relations. Looking back, China's achievements have exceeded the expectations of many. Today, China plays a central role in global trade, and trade has become essential to China's economy. With the benefit of hindsight, China's WTO accession could be seen as the completion of the largest trading bridge between China and the West since Marco Polo's expeditions in the 13th century. There are many questions about the long-term trajectory of the WTO and about what WTO members, including China, can do to revive growth and address the multifaceted challenges of the day. A common WTO response to the pandemic and to other pressing global issues is of vital interest to all. The WTO can make an important contribution through ongoing work on fisheries subsidies and on the nexus between trade and health. I hope that we will collectively be able to rise to the challenge and deliver the results that are expected of us. The 4th China International Import Expo is a testament to China's determination to show leadership and play an active part in the global recovery effort. Trade is indeed a vital piece of the puzzle. I count on China's support and contribution as we look to revitalize the multilateral trading system and deliver credible results for people and the planet in the 21st century. Thank you.
感谢伊维拉女士。
Thank you, Madam
下面有
Director
请
General,
联合
and
国
I'll
贸易
now
和
give
发
the
展会议
floor
秘书长
to
格林
Secretary
斯潘女
General
士致辞。
Greenspan of UNCTAD.
Your Excellency Xi Jinping, President of the People's Republic of China, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great honor for me to address you in this very important ceremony, which marks the 20th anniversary of China's accession to the World Trade Organization. As Secretary General of UNCTAD, I share today's spirit of celebration. China's accession to the WTO was great news for China, but also great news for the world. These 2 decades have brought unprecedented economic prosperity to millions of people around the globe. Indeed, it is no exaggeration to say that these have been the best 2 decades for poverty alleviation in the history of mankind. China, in these 20 years, have given us a great example of how nations can develop through trade. This, as you well know, is a central mandate of UNCTAD, the UN Conference on Trade and Development. I therefore speak from experience when I say that what China has done in these 20 years is no easy feat at all. Channeling commerce towards prosperity, controlling volatility, building up resilient infrastructure. These are but a few of the challenges China has overcome in its recent history. And this has taken great efforts, great responsibility, and great leadership. I therefore take this opportunity to not only celebrate, but also congratulate the Chinese people and their leaders. Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, the world has changed greatly in these 20 years, but especially in the last 2 years. The COVID-19 pandemic has done untold damage to millions of people around the world, especially in developing countries. Making matters worse, we are now witnessing a very uneven recovery from this crisis, a recovery that is leaving behind those who were already suffering the most, and with it is making us all more fragile. The world needs solidarity and multilateralism more than ever. President Xi proposed the Global Development Initiative last month at the UN General Assembly. In it, His Excellency highlighted the fact that many developing countries are currently lacking vaccines, food, financial resources, long-term investments, and sustainable infrastructure, among others. As the largest developing country in the world, China understands these global inequalities and is uniquely positioned to champion them. I therefore take this opportunity to offer UNCTAD's continued support to the Chinese nation in its efforts towards a more inclusive and sustainable global recovery. I wish you 20 more years of success, and I thank you.
感谢格林斯潘女士。下面
Thank you, Director
有请胡
General
春华副总理
Greenspan.
继续主持开
And
幕
now
式。
give the floor back to Vice Premier Hu Chunhua to moderate the opening ceremony.
感谢各国领导人和各位国际组织负责人的精彩致辞。刚才各位嘉宾就共同应对全球性挑战、深化全球开放合作、促进国际贸易发展等议题发表了很多真知灼见，提出了很多建设性意见，对于开好本次虹桥国际经济论坛促进俄国互利合作具有十分重要的意义。现在有请中华人民共和国副主席王岐山阁下宣布第4届中国国际进口博览会开幕。
宣布，第4届中国国际进口博览会开幕。
第4届中国国际进口博览会开幕式到此结束，让我们欢送王岐山副主席和其他贵宾离场。